Hello guys! Today I'm coming to the history of Aeonar again, and we're going back in time to precisely after the Devourer was created. And that's way back in time. But let's hop into it. And this is a very lore-rich video too. It is war between the old and new ones. Let's get into it. After the Devourer was created, the new ones, aka Celestials, Abyssins, and Eidolons, etc., started to get outnumbered with all the other great forces, which included the old ones, other cosmic threats, and giant beasts like the Devourer. The old ones were the main threats to the dominance of the new ones over Aeonar, so a war started. The old ones were biding their time in the shadows of Aeonar anyway. They expected to have a war soon, but not for them to be attacked first. After word broke out that the new ones were preparing for a war against the old ones, the old and new ones started to take sides. The old ones were the dark side, and the new ones were the good side. The ones who joined the good side were all Celestials, Abyssins, Eidolons, and an old one that had been Azeroth's greatest enemy. This old one was known as Chronalos, a divine dragon that fought against the dark old ones. The ones that joined the dark side were the old ones who consisted of Azeroth, Kazorak, Deimos, Angalich, Shindaroth, Calandrion, Calorion, Stalios, and many others. The new ones and Chronalos struck first and fought the small amount of old ones that had begun to gather in the western part of the universe in deep space. Basically space that hardly has anything in it. The old ones that had gathered there were Stalios, Calandrion, Abyssal Tyrants, and World Eaters, Rippers, and Flayers. 3 different types of other old ones, basically. The army of the new ones ripped through the small group of old ones and only had a few casualties, which Chronos survived of Genesis. Genesis is pretty powerful. Calandrion was slain by Atlas, and his remains were cast aside to the ice planet of Frazar. Stalios fled with minor wounds and informed Azeroth. Azeroth, much later, then sent out the lesser old ones to stall the new ones and created a master plan. Azeroth sent Stalios and Kazorak to help distract the new ones along with the lesser old ones. While the new ones were distracted, with many of the old ones in front of them, Azeroth sent the rest of the old ones, except himself, to fight the new ones from behind. Basically, fighting behind them and in front of them. He retrieved the remains of Calandrion himself on the ice planet of Frazar, of course. Anyways, Azeroth then left with Calandrion's remains as the battle going on far away started to end. The old ones had to flee at the end of the battle because they had been a distraction long enough. Half of the lesser old ones had been slain and their remains cast aside to Frazar. None of the old ones named here died, but some unique old ones not named here died. Half of the new ones died, but Chronos, who was still alive, revived them. When all the old ones arrived where Azeroth was, Azeroth had already revived Calandrion himself. Azeroth, with Kazorak, used much of their power to give the other old ones the power to regrow themselves from the tiniest remains. Kazorak was not granted this power, though, as he had many ways of protecting himself. This war had already gone on for a few years, and he was ready to end it the all-out way. Later, the old and new ones then met at a colossal planet in the middle of deep space, and fought with each side going all out. The battle was so intense that the planet was shattered into giant pieces all across the western side of the universe. This area of mass destruction is now known as the Shattered Battlefield. The battle went on for a whole year, with the new ones weakening and the old ones overpowering them. The top contributors to the overpowering of the new ones were Azeroth, Angalich, Kazorak, and Deimos. When the old ones were about to win by a landslide, Kronos and Atlas used the full might of Genesis and Terminus and ruined the old ones. At the end of the battle, all of the old ones except for Azeroth and Kazorak survived. Kronos and Atlas used Genesis and Terminus to open a giant rift that led to an empty universe. Kronos then blasted Azeroth and Kazorak into the rift, and they vanished. All that remained of the dead old ones was bones and pieces of flesh. These were cast aside to Frazar, and there most of the old ones slowly regrew themselves from flesh and bone. However, most of the old ones had ice over and became petrified. Those old ones stopped regrowing themselves and truly died in the ice. Some that were frozen over, though, clung to life and eventually freed themselves at last. That's all for today's video. Like, subscribe, and I'm out.